Should you fix your Warner Robins house before selling it or listing it with an agent? And if so, which repairs should you absolutely fix? And when does it make financial sense to do the repairs on your house before selling it? We're going to get into all these questions and a few more real quick. So if you're selling your house in Warner Robins, Bonaire, Kathleen, or Perry, one question is, what kind of repairs do I need to do to my house? Or do I need to repair my house before listing it with an agent? So what repairs should you do to your house that absolutely needs to be done, and which ones can you kind of skip? So the repairs that you need to do to your house that you could probably get away with skipping is usually going to be your cosmetic stuff. And by that I mean the lower run of vinyl siding that the weed eater has tagged a few times, or if you've got scuffs on the wall, or if the carpet might be a little bit dated. Reason being is because a lot of times, unless you're going to change it out for another carpet or another flooring that's going to be neutral and aesthetically pleasing, a lot of times buyers that are looking to make an offer on a house may sometimes be planning on changing out the color or replacing the flooring anyway. So as long as it looks good and it's clean, you might be able to get away with not doing these repairs. Changing out ceiling fans and window blinds are another thing that you could probably get away with not having to worry about. A lot of people worry about the windows while they're buying the house, but once they move in, a lot of people really don't look out their windows except when they're in the living room or the sunroom. So if there's any window blinds that are kind of outdated, or the ceiling fan is gold when the rest of the house is burnt nickel, it's probably not going to be a real big deal. Now, if something like the ceiling fan absolutely does not work, then of course you're going to have to change that out. Now, these items that you can probably skip over and not worry about also are the same items that are going to be the cheapest items to fix. The sink clogging up, or light switches that don't work. If you have light switch covers that are cracked or missing, those are 25 cents a piece. Run to the builder supply, grab a pack of covers, and make sure that all your light switches and outlets have covers on them and they're not cracked. If you have any scuffs on the wall, if you can take some light soap and water and wash the walls. Now, flat paint walls might be a little bit of an issue. You don't want to rub hard on those because you will end up leaving streaks which buyers can see. And all these little details add up to an overall nice house. So it's really up to you as to whether you want to fix these items or not. Next is going to be the must fix issues. Obviously, holes in the wall are going to need to be fixed. If there's any major damage that is visible to the naked eye, those items are going to need to be fixed. Ultimately, everything in the house needs to work. So if they turn on the faucet, it needs to run water. If it turn it to the left, then it needs to run hot water. If they turn on the ceiling fan, it needs to turn. If the light switch comes up, it needs to come on. So make sure that all your electrical, your HVAC, your plumbing, all that works. If it doesn't, you might need to call a contractor to see about getting those items fixed, or be willing to change the price on your house that you're selling. Now let's look at cost versus return. When does repairs make financial sense? Well, typically, if you want to get the most out of your house, repairs that are going to give you back time and a half your money are usually the top ones that you want to concentrate on. So when you're putting your house on the market for sale, most likely you're going to be selling to a couple, and the wife is usually going to be dictating what they like and what they don't like. That's just a fact of life. That's just the natural way of things. So when the woman comes into a house, they want the house to look good on the front, they want the kitchen to be nice, and they want the bathrooms to be nice. Just ask any woman, ask my wife, she'll tell you. So in the kitchen, simple fixes would be like making sure all the drawers and the cabinets work properly, making sure that there's no stains or dirt shows the house has not been taken care of. Simple fixes would be if your countertops are stained or worn or have any scratch marks on them, you can change out the countertops for a new countertop. They have newer Formica countertops that are very nice. There's solid surface, and then there's granite and quartz. Of course, you don't want to use the cheap countertops on a $400,000 house, but it might not be cost effective to use granite countertops on a $100,000 house. So reach out to me. We can go through your house. we can come up with a game plan on what repairs you need to do and what you can skip to get your house on the market. Bathrooms would be the same way. If the countertops are worn out, changing them out for something that matches the kitchen. Having different colors throughout the bathrooms and the kitchens are usually going to be a turnoff for people that are wanting to make an offer on the house. So if at all possible, if you change out the countertops in the kitchen, it might be a good idea, if you can afford to, go ahead and change out the countertops in the bathrooms as well to match the kitchen and the overall color theme of the house. So what are some major repairs that you can't ignore? Well, when anybody comes in to look at the house, if they make an offer on the house, they're also going to order an inspection. Foundation is going to be a big ticket item. If there's any issues with the foundation, that's not something that you want to ignore and hope the inspector doesn't notice it. If you do have any issues with the foundation, you might want to call a contractor that specializes in foundation work and find out what it's going to take to fix it. Because foundation issues are a big item that deters a lot of buyers, because it is the basis of the house, and if there's something wrong with it, it could get very, very costly. So you want to find out what you're dealing with before you even put it on the market. The next is going to be the roof. Now, if your roof has good straight lines, everything is similar color, then you're probably good to go. But if you have a lot of trash, pine needles and leaves on the roof or in the gutters, if you have any pimple looking bumps on the roof, that usually means that nails are backing out. If you have any missing shingles, or if the shingles have any streak marks in them showing that it's being worn, that means that the roof is probably losing the asphalt off of that roof and it's getting a little bit of age. So you might want to see about getting the roof changed if it's older than 10 years to make the buyers feel comfortable and confident that they're buying a good product. Now, one big trick here is pay attention to the weather reports. If there has been a major storm in the last 8 or 10 months, then you could call a contractor out, let them know what's going on, and they can inspect the roof to find out if it qualifies for storm damage. If it qualifies for storm damage, then you could possibly get your roof replaced by your insurance claim, and that way it won't come out of your pocket, and the house will look nicer when you're ready to put it on the market and list it. And then your third major structural issue is going to be water damage. Now, water damage can get very costly, so if you haven't sold your house yet and you know there's some water damage around, make sure to go ahead and get that fixed so it doesn't produce any more damage. Now, as for the damage that's already there, now of course the inspector is going to eventually find it and report it back to the buyer. So your best bet is to go ahead and get it fixed now before you put it on the market, or else you may end up with your house on the market a whole lot longer, or you may get offers that are way less than what you were hoping for. So your next question might be, how am I going to prioritize all these repairs? Well, if you don't have very many repairs, then it's probably going to be pretty easy. A lot of the newer houses, less than 20 years old, have scuff marks, have a little scratches, and a lot of cosmetic issues that are easy to fix and clean up. Now, for older houses, brick houses that have cracks in them, foundation issues, any house that is going to be older is going to have a better chance of having a longer list. The best thing to do is go ahead and pay for your own inspector to come in and look around and find all the issues that you may not be aware of. Once you have that report, then you can go through that report and do these fixes. I usually go with the cheaper fixes first, because $50 to cover up some light fixtures or replace some ceiling fans is going to be a lot easier to sell the house, and you're more likely to get your asking price. And if you have any major repairs that need to be done, at least that will make you aware of it as to whether you need to adjust your price accordingly, or if those kinds of repairs are going to be worth the money to put into and get your money back out of when you sell it. For example, we had a client that called us to come out and list their house. And once we walked around, we found out that the foundation had been cracking and settling. But the sellers had already called a contractor to come out and do some adjustments, reinforce the foundation, and get it fixed. And it had a line of concrete where the cracks were that were filled in and fixed. That was fine. But then once the house was on the market, after about 30 days, that same repair started cracking again. So that told us that there was an ongoing issue, and because of that, a lot of buyers didn't want to make an offer on the house, and it ended up staying on the market for over 100 days, and they didn't get anywhere near the asking price that they wanted, because anybody that bought that house knew that there was a very good chance that they were going to have to deal with fixing that foundation again. And a lot of retail buyers don't want to risk that kind of repair on a house that they're living in. So what kind of repairs can you put into the house is going to get you the best ROI? Like I said, the roof is going to be one of your best bets. If it's older than 10 years and it's obviously worn out, see if you can get an insurance claim on it and get it replaced. If so, that's going to carry a lot with the buyers that come to look at the house. Kitchen and bathrooms are going to be another place where if you can do some nice touch-ups and a little bit of updating, usually $1,000 in the kitchen is going to bring you back at least that same money out of the house when it sells, and it'll sell a little bit faster. Carpet and paint is another common one that you can do in order to make the house sell fast. Now, these days, a lot of people like hardwood flooring or LVP. They don't like the dust and the allergies that come with carpet. So a lot of what we do is we'll put LVP in all the public areas and then keep the carpet in the bedrooms where people get out of bed barefoot and don't want to feel a cold floor. And when you're selling your house, new flooring and new paint are going to be the two first things that people see when they walk into the house. And if it's new and nice and updated, that's going to go a long way towards getting the asking price that you're wanting, as opposed to worn out carpet and smudges and streaks and holes in the wall where people are going to want to have to fix that themselves, and in lieu of that they're going to want a $5,000, $7,000, $10,000 discount so they can put those repairs into the house and not go over what the current market value is. Now, like I said, give me a call and we'll do a walk around your house and see what kind of repairs you can do now that are cheap and easy before we list your house, and come up with a game plan to get your house sold in the time that you want. And I'll talk to you on the next video.